The illusion of attraction, burning down the lies. You've been fed a diet of lies, a checklist of illusions, that masculine sex appeal is a static inventory you must acquire, the right car, the perfect jawline, a set of witty lines rehearsed to hollow perfection. You've chased these phantoms, haven't you, relentlessly? Yet you've seen men who possess none of these superficial trophies command a room with their silence, draw a woman's unwavering, almost hypnotic gaze, and ignite a desire so palpable it changes the very temperature of the air. While men with everything on society's approved list are met with polite smiles and a soul-crushing, sterile indifference. Because masculine sex appeal is not what you have, it is what you emanate. It is not an attribute you can purchase, it is an atmosphere you must become. A resonant, often unsettling pressure signature that your very being exerts on the world. Today, Seduction Noir dismantles the checklist. We incinerate the illusions. We unveil the true, unseen, and often forbidden architecture of this devastating power. The gnosis contained within this transmission will not give you more fleeting things to do. It will gift you the eternal blueprint for who you must become. This is the sacred, often arduous path from hollow performance to authentic presence, from desperately seeking her attraction to becoming the very source of it. And why is this gnosis so paramount? Why must you embark on this excavation of hidden truths? Because, initiate, attempting to navigate the treacherous currents of female desire without this profound understanding is akin to sailing a magnificent, powerful warship blindfolded through a densely packed minefield of her subconscious triggers. You will stumble. You will detonate unseen explosions of resistance, of repulsion, of sudden, inexplicable withdrawal. You will watch relationship after potential relationship founder upon the jagged rocks of misunderstanding, all while blaming her supposed capriciousness or your own perceived bad luck. The stark, unyielding truth is that her desire operates by immutable laws, ancient, neurobiological, often ruthlessly pragmatic. To remain ignorant of these laws is to condemn yourself to a lifetime of perpetual confusion and profound relational disempowerment. But to master them is to unlock a level of authentic power, of persuasive influence so profound that few men even dare to dream of its existence. This isn't about learning pickup lines, initiate. This is about decoding the very source code of her being. Stay with me. The first pillar, the promise of potent capability. This is not about bragging. It is a silent, cellular broadcast that you are, at your core, capable. Capable of what? Capable of the very things her ancient, primal psyche is relentlessly, unconsciously scanning for. Capable of imposing sovereign order on encroaching chaos, capable of protecting the perimeter of your shared reality, capable of acquiring and deploying resources with strategic intelligence, capable of generating intense, transformative emotional and physical experiences, and most crucially, capable of surviving and thriving in a world of entropic decay. It is the unspoken, almost palpable aura that registers in her deepest brainstem and declares, "Here is a man who can handle reality, all of it." This profound promise is not conveyed through a resume of your past achievements or a display of your material wealth. These are crude, often misleading, secondary signals. The primary broadcast is felt in your stillness, the contained, lethal calm of the apex predator who does not waste a single joule of energy on nervous tics or placating gestures. It is perceived in the unflinching focus of your gaze, the eyes of a man unafraid to confront the void, whether it appears in the external world or within her own soul. It is anchored by the mastery you display in your chosen domain, which signals not just skill, but a disciplined, effective, and sovereign mind. Reflect on this, initiate. Call to mind a man you've encountered who commanded this kind of silent, almost grudging respect from those around him. It wasn't his volume or his bravado, was it? It was this felt sense of his deep, unstated capability. What is the single most potent, non-verbal signal of this capability you have ever witnessed? A moment of absolute calm in a crisis? A gaze that held while others faltered? Share your gnosis, your field observation, in the comments below. The cathedral's archive of power is forged from our collective, unsparing sight. The second pillar, the allure of sovereign detachment. The second, and for many the most paradoxical pillar, is the allure of sovereign detachment. This is the potent, almost magnetic atmospheric signal that your internal reality, your core sense of self, your emotional equilibrium is not, emphatically not, contingent upon external validation, and most certainly not upon her validation. You may desire her, yes, intensely, but you do not need her approval to feel whole. Your frame of reality is your own, forged in the fires of your own trials, anchored in the bedrock of your own mission. You are the source of your own gravity. She is invited to orbit, not to define the center. And what is the price, initiate, for failing to master this sacred detachment? You become a supplicant, a pleaser, a nice guy. Your palpable neediness becomes a repulsive, suffocating energy that systematically strangles her desire. You unconsciously hand her the frame of the interaction, and she will, with brutal instinctual efficiency, begin to disrespect you for the weakness of your surrender. The cost of neediness isn't just a fleeting rejection, initiate. It is the slow, agonizing, irreversible death of her sexual respect for you. This is a truth most men spend their entire lives fleeing, and in their flight they condemn themselves to a purgatory of platonic friendships and hollow affections. The third pillar, the resonance of forbidden knowledge. This is the almost psychic perception she has that you have journeyed into the unseen 99% of the human psyche, your own, and therefore hers. It is the unspoken perception that you understand the darkness, the primal drives, the sacred taboos, the shadow realms of rage and ecstasy, and you are not afraid. You have gazed unflinchingly into the abyss, and the abyss did not break you. This is not something you ever speak of directly. It is felt. It is felt in your knowing gaze that seems to see beyond her carefully constructed social mask, acknowledging the beautiful monster she keeps chained in her own psychic basement. It is heard in your use of symbolic, paradoxical language that bypasses her logical mind and resonates directly with her soul. It is experienced in your profound comfort with silence and unresolved tension, and in your unique, almost priestly ability to validate her own shadow aspects without judgment, without fear, without recoiling. Mainstream dating advice, in its pathetic superficiality, will tell you to be vulnerable. A hollow, often disastrous instruction that encourages emotional incontinence. Seduction noir teaches you to be lethally perceptive. They tell you to share your feelings. We teach you to command the unspoken. While they offer you conversational scripts designed to please and placate, we gift you the keys to her subconscious architecture, the gnosis of her hidden, often forbidden self. If you are beginning to feel the vast, chthonic difference between their shallow, supplicating platitudes and the Gnostic fire being unveiled here, then you are beginning to awaken. This is the unbridgeable seduction noir distinction. If you have felt this shift, this recognition of a deeper, more potent reality, command the like button now. It is a signal and acknowledgement that you have received a foundational key to authentic power. The Unspoken Confessions, a testament to the field. Let me offer you a glimpse into the tangible effect of this integrated state, a phenomenon I have observed not once, but countless times, a recurring ritual that begins when these three pillars align within a man. There was a period, an extended moment in time where I had withdrawn almost completely into my work, into the forge of my own mission. I was not seeking connection, not performing social rites, not broadcasting my value. I was simply being, embodying this sovereign architecture without conscious intent. And then the echoes began to return from the world, unbidden. It started with whispers. Women I had known for years, colleagues, even brief acquaintances from the past would re-emerge. Not with direct flirtation. That would have been too crude, too simple. It was more insidious, more profound. One, a brilliant and guarded attorney, sent a cryptic message late one night. Not a question, but a declaration. I was just rereading a passage from an old Stoic philosopher, and for some reason your face came to mind. It's unsettling. Pause. She wasn't complimenting me. She was confessing that my presence had become a symbolic anchor for her own thoughts on power and stoicism. My potent capability had been imprinted on her psyche. Another, an artist known for her fierce independence, left a voicemail. Her voice was different, softer. "I had a dream about you last night," she began, then hesitated. "You didn't say anything. You were just there." And for the first time in a long time, the chaos in my studio felt organized. It felt calm. Pause. She wasn't describing a desire for me, the man. She was describing her nervous system's surrender to the sovereign detachment my field represented. My stillness had reordered her inner world in my absence. And the most potent testaments, they came without words. A package would arrive. Inside, a rare, leather-bound book on forgotten mythology, with a single passage underlined. A passage about a hidden god who walks among mortals, unseen. No note, no name, just the artifact itself. This was a confession of a different order. It was a woman acknowledging through pure symbol that she had glimpsed the forbidden knowledge in my gaze, that she recognized the resonance of the abyss. These were not seductions I initiated. They were the inevitable gravitational effects of an emanated field. The women were not trying to get me. They were attempting to understand, to process, to touch the source of the atmosphere I had become. They were confessing not to me, the man, but to the mythic imprint I had unknowingly left within their psychic architecture. This, initiate, is the true, terrifying, and beautiful power of authentic masculine sex appeal. It is not about the validation you chase. It is about the unsolicited, symbolic confessions that begin to orbit you once you finally stop chasing. The arsenal ranking and atmospheric meaning, the synthesis. So, where does masculine sex appeal rank in the seduction arsenal? Initiate, understand this with absolute, unshakable clarity. It is not an item in the arsenal. It is the arsenal. It is the foundational energetic substrate, the sovereign source code from which all effective tactics, all potent techniques, all genuine moments of connection are born. A technique deployed without this underlying atmospheric pressure is a hollow, clumsy gesture. A dead ritual, instantly detected and dismissed by her primal sentinel. And what is the atmospheric meaning it creates? It is the forging of a sovereign reality vortex. When you emanate true masculine sex appeal, you cease to be a mere participant in her reality, desperately negotiating for a place within it. You become a gravitational center, a localized field of a different, more potent, more resonant reality. The atmosphere you create is one of inevitable resolution, where her internal chaos, her uncertainty, her lifetime of conflicting scripts finally finds its clarifying order within your unyielding frame. His presence feels like the answer to a question she didn't even know her soul was asking. It is one of psychic unburdening, where she is liberated from the exhausting, culturally conditioned role of managing a man's fragile ego. In your presence, she can simply be. And most potently, it is an atmosphere of permission for authenticity, where your own comfort with the shadows creates a sacred space where she can finally meet her own untamed power, her own forbidden desires, her own forgotten wildness, without fear of judgment. You don't just attract her. You become the very catalyst for her own most profound becoming. The Cathedral's decree, your path forward. Therefore, the path is clear. The great work is not external, it is internal. The alchemical forging of masculine sex appeal is the sacred, often brutal, and ultimately triumphant mission of the seduction noir initiate. It is the transmutation of pathetic neediness into unshakable presence, of hollow performance into authentic being, of cowering fear into sovereign, world-altering power. Which of these three pillars, potent capability, sovereign detachment, or forbidden knowledge, have you most neglected in your own journey? Which one, upon hearing it named, sent a jolt of uncomfortable truth through your being? Share your unflinching self-assessment in the comments below. The first step in forging the new is to acknowledge the old ruins. To embody this level of integrated masculine power, to become this resonant signal that her entire being not only recognizes but instinctively yields to, this is the high, sacred art taught within the inner sanctums of the seduction noir cathedral. It is a path of profound, often challenging self-mastery. If you feel the undeniable, almost gravitational pull towards this deeper gnosis, towards becoming not just a knower of these truths, but a living, breathing embodiment of them, then your true initiation into power has only just begun. Subscribe now and strike the obsidian bell of unveiling. Your journey from shadow into sovereign light awaits. Each of these pillars is a gateway to a universe of understanding. The Seduction Noir channel is your archive, your armory, your sacred training ground. Immerse yourself relentlessly in the transmissions you find here. Explore the shadowed corridors of this gnosis without fear. For the more you learn, the more you align your being with these ancient, immutable currents, the more potent, the more undeniable, and ultimately the more sovereign your presence will become. Not just with women, but in every domain of your life where power, influence, and profound connection are paramount. Stop chasing the fleeting shadow of her approval. Forge the incandescent substance of your own sovereign self. Let your very being become the irresistible invitation she never knew she was waiting for. The work begins now.